Abusuafo ene atifo yebema obibia akwaba shonko so ede aba Ghana Politics Avenue eso yebesre obibia se afi ere waba dwumadi kese we so e ma wurafi so be like you be subscribe to the channel send ya political trending news bia eko eba bia no Ghana Politics Avenue so yem so ya chepene se yede bebre ya bedwafo ene ye tifo abusuafo ye nyina ye nim eye Gifty Oware eye mensa ono odi mu akotene oye campaign NSS scandal ni mo no ono a case ye nyina ye nim se prep again omokofa baya na ye nim se enka odeka utwia kakra na nka utwia ne kakra na se sia no judge odis asem no about prep again egu na ni abrie pa all person obey slow down proceedings as sia NSS scandal no watch them actually the trials no started 22nd na se Gifty Oware and so he did agra obemana dem na pray again so the on so cause it can offer one fan in kakra nti se sia no so offer na kakra na this can what the akoye adwuma mpepepe yes na abeda so nti ebetwe sika na embeye ne kakra se bia 22nd na ya hye eda no so on physical na embra akoya ro se bia ma Gifty Oware pa busia for menje mumbra mo so bebre men se mumbra mumienko ni konkotie ensema omokafa we do bibia
environment that can thrive, where our currency does not become the harbinger of doom for business transactions in this country. It rose at some point, under the administration to 17%. They left it at 14.7. Today, it is 10.5. They voted for no fee stress. They voted for the uncapping of the NHIL, which people go to the hospital and they get trapped because the NHIL...
Just implement please,
please, 133. When you were speaking, I respected...
I'm sorry.
I respected you and allowed you to speak. You should do that. I don't know why you I'm sorry. Oh yeah, of course, we'll go to the substantive. You are disrespectful.
I'm sorry.
They voted for all these things to change. They voted for lower fuel prices at the pump. They voted for lower transportation costs when they are commuting in town. And I can report to you, my brother, in all sincerity, and the data bears me out. And as I always say, that if sanity would prevail, we would not deny obvious fact. Today, the dollar is down from 14.7 to 10.5. Inflation, they left it at 23.8. It is down to what? 5.4, a record achievement. In fact, the NDC administration itself set a target for ourselves at 11.5 at end of year 2025. We achieved 5.4. It is a tremendous record. The CD appreciated against the dollar 41%. It has never happened in the history of the Fourth Republic. In fact, some analysts say that the last time they saw that is in the 1970s. Some analysts say that you do not leave these things behind. And a government that has adopted fiscal prudence in handling the economy so far. The energy sector, I've not even touched there. You left it in junk. We were owing debts in tremendous amount. In fact, when we were leaving office, Abwa Papu was telling us that immediately we take over power, there will be doom so. And you know who he was? He was working at Ghana Gas as director for corporate affairs. So he's in the thick and thin of the energy sector and knew precisely what the MPP was leaving behind. And so he told us that we will be facing doom so imminently. President John Dramani Mahama stood in Parliament and told the people of Ghana that I will face this problem head on and I'll keep the lights on. The lights are on today.
Okay, Julius, wrap that for me.
Yeah, today we have secured again the World Bank's guarantee of $500 million, which under them, because of several defaults, we lost that guarantee. I mean, how do you bypass all of this and come to the studio this morning and instead of acknowledging the failures that you have left behind and the tremendous changes and successes that have been achieved since you have left office, you have come in with complaints? I relate with the plight of any young person anywhere in this country today who may be jobless by reason of the maladministration for years. But I can assure them that under John Dramani Mahama, we are turning the clock. We have achieved fiscal consolidation. It is a year of growth going forward, and they would all be satisfied.
All right, very well. Richard, it will be unfair for me to move on without you also having some 2 minutes to do
just a minute.
So please do it a minute to
sincerely, I also like to... the show has started, so let me also use this opportunity to say good morning to my co-panelists, to all the people of Whole Central this morning, to my good friend Kobi Tando. He is the CEO of LC Petroleum. I wish you a very beautiful good morning today. and to the entire leadership of the United Party. Well, you see, it is difficult to hear the kettle calling the pot calling the kettle so very dark. Because you see, job creation is a progressive, systematic approach where we can be able to, based on data, and say that we created this quantum of jobs within the last 8 years when we had the opportunity. Thereafter, those that are still in active business or in active job placements, they are this amount of people. So you see, the job creation menace that is in this country, no single political party can resolve that problem. You understand? I sincerely want to appreciate the point that my brother is posing, that look, people queue to vote for you, and most of them, when they vote for you, it is about personal interest. And what is the main personal interest? It's always about job. How accessible a job? How do you create an environment for us to be able to capitalize on it and improve on our businesses? The macro indicators can be good, but the micro indicators is what really matters, because the micro is what comes to the household level. So whilst we are talking about macro stability, we should also constantly look up how is the macro stability snowballing into micro stability, which is really directly affecting people and their finances. Yes, fuel is a major indicator as to how our daily life is governed. Because you see, that is the wheel upon which everything runs in this country. Only globally, everything runs on fuel. So, assuming, I can bet my last person, assuming that maybe NPP is still in power, perhaps even the fuel had dropped on the international market, they will still not let us enjoy that respite. They will still not. They will have used all machinations to make sure we are still buying fuel like this and all this. So as a matter of fact, let us give the NDC government an ample time. If this year, because it's media, that's why in America they do midterm election. You understand? If for the first 24 months of your 4 years, you do not deliver, then we can go after you hard enough. But if after 12 months and we want to create the impression that you need to solve the country's entire problem, then we are not being very sincere and objective-minded individuals. So let us give them ample time. And this year, if they are not able to create sufficient jobs, we hold them to their own ways.
Very well. Thank you very much. You can also join us with your messages, and you can send them to our WhatsApp line. We're also streaming live on Facebook, so you can also go there and leave your messages. We'll do well to read them today here on the show. Newsflash is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise and also Koa Natural Fruit Juice supporting us this morning as well. Please do well and grab one for yourself as you go about your daily activities today, and walk into any Franco Trading Enterprise branch and make sure that you also grab something from there. Franco Trading says phone we're taking our attention to the SHS Physical Education and Health Manual, which has brought a lot of controversy the last 48 hours or so, 24 hours or so. And this is the release that they put together. I'm going to go into that, but let me just, by way of you understanding what exactly we're looking at this morning, NACA has recalled the SHS Physical Education and Health Teachers Manual over gender controversy, and it says the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, has directed all teachers in possession of hard copies of the SHS Physical Education and Health Teachers Manual to return them immediately. The move follows concerns over a controversial definition of gender identity in the manual, which is currently in use in schools. NACA Board Chairman Professor Vincent Asanful confirmed the directive in an interview with Addo News, and says he explained that a comprehensive review of the curriculum is underway, covering education from the basic to the secondary level to ensure it aligns with Ghanaian values while maintaining educational integrity. Now, this is where the problem is. Now, the manual defines gender identity as a person's deeply felt internal experience of gender, which may or may not correspond to the sex assigned at birth. It also notes that gender may include being male, female, or a blend of both, going beyond extremely binary concept. Professor Asanful assured that the review will not focus solely on the gender identity section, but will take a critical look at the entire manual to ensure clarity and appropriateness. Now, this is the problem. So there are two of these curriculum that are always released, and according to the NACA, the one that has the whole interpretation of what gender means is what the teachers have. That is what they call the teacher's manual. So what the students are using do not have explicitly what the teachers have in terms of the definition of what gender is all about. So that's the case they are making for this very issue. But then again, the issue is if a teacher decides that what I have is truly what I have to look at in making sure that I'm able to discharge my whatever duties that I have to discharge in terms of teaching these children, decides that he's going to go explicit. Because NACA will not be there to actually say, oh, they want to regulate whatever the teacher has read from his point or his own curriculum and then go and teach. If he decides to go and then be explicit, how do you control that? And that is what Ghanaians are asking. The questions everybody is asking now is, it is not still safe to say that, oh, what the teachers have do not have what the students are, possibly also reading. And so it's not an issue. But then, of course, there has been a real call with regards to that. So that's what we're looking at this morning here on the show. Richard, how do you feel we've been battling the issue of LGBT? I mean, we've tried as much as possible to let it stay from our children. Even Parliament is still yet to go ahead with what we have to do with regards to, explicitly stating that LGBT is a problem in this country. Mm-hmm. And now we find it in the curriculum of students in the SHS.
Well, this issue is of a national interest.
Yeah.
And I sincerely believe that we have come of age as a people. And we have all come to admit that, yes, in as much as we believe that there is freedom of right, there is freedom of choice, there is freedom of everything, we still believe in the fundamental principles that underpin our cultural values. Globally, everybody can decide to interpret gender in whatever way and form and shape they prefer. But you must always define that to suit your own understanding and appreciation of your culture, principles, and values. Therefore, if anybody should go try to explain to us or give a teacher's manual like you really indicated, the teacher's manual, the supplementary manual, or whatever they call it, is what guides the teacher to say that per the definition of this subject matter, this is your guide, this is what you should use to interpret whatever it is to the students for them to appreciate the values and principles or the depth of whatever you are trying to explain to them. So the teacher is equally very important. So now, if you go for such a manual, give it to teachers. And what baffles me is that how come this was printed without any proper due diligence? For it to be then not distributed, and later you said you are recalling it. We are not a serious group of people if that is the way we want to go about things. Because from the very definition of what is written there, that it is about feeling, expression of feeling. What is the expression of feeling all about? Definition of gender is all about male and female. But yes, we know that some people who are bigender, bisexual, from birth they carry both organs. But even that one, we call it an abnormality. It's not normal. It's a complete abnormal. For somebody to carry two genders from birth, that is why sometimes they go further to do surgical operation. You either choose one or you can't maintain the two because it's not right. So as a matter of fact, my only challenge is about who edited it, who supervised the printing. If NACA, their core mandate is to look at curriculum, why should NACA sit there for a curriculum that is meant for senior high schools should be developed and a teacher's handbook is picked out of the curriculum, isn't it? So if a teacher's handbook is picked out of the curriculum and then there's a complete distortion of definition of gender as to the fact that even there are various differences. What are the various differences? What are the various differences? So it's just very important that we look at this issue and prevent it from happening. Because this thing happened during the SWA NPP administration, where, it was a big issue that, a curriculum has been put out there, and now the NPP government is trying to do what? Support LGBTQ agenda. Ali, they also stood their grounds and defended it tooth and nail that, no, that is not the issue. Today, it is the turn of NDC, and this same issue is really its ugly head again. But the point is that, what is our stand as we speak today on LGBTQ? What is our stand? When the government took over, the president said that yes, the bill that was transferred to the then president for him to assent to criminalize this LGBTQ wasn't done. Therefore, they have asked Parliament. Now they are not even looking at private member bill, but they want a government-sponsored bill. where it will be a government position that we are not in full support of LGBTQ. But still, don't forget, there are so many underlying global factors that are still having external control on our economies. And it's a bare fact. From the days of Professor Mills, you remember that Britain gave him a condition that before we can even sponsor you, you need to accept some of this and say, to hell with your money, we are not interested. So it beats my mind that no government is really willing to hold this issue by the ball and say, like, enough of it. Let us go past the bill and then look at the bill. If there are some amendments have to be done in it, if there are some issues that we look at, especially I'm against complete incarceration of people. If you incarcerate somebody for indulging in such an activity and you take him to inside one prison where it is even much more festering over there, what are you going to do? Are you promoting it or you are trying to depromote it? If you want to promote it, then we should look at alternative punishment regimes, okay, and be able to shame people who are getting themselves involved in these kinds of attitude. But as a matter of fact, I'm only appealing to NACA that don't sit on your mandate, because if you look at the mandate of NACA, they are responsible for assessing all curriculums in this country, including teachers' handbook. Including teachers' handbook, because teachers' handbook, like I said, is also emanates from what? The curriculum. So the definition they are putting out there is not good, and we need to instill discipline in our children to let them understand that we cannot entertain LGBTQ in this country. Okay. If you are a productive country, you are a self-sufficient country, a self-dependent country, why should these things find their way into your teacher's handbook? Who placed it there in the first place? Who put it there? Whose definition is that? Whose interpretation of gender is that? Is it AI generated? Or somebody actually wrote it? And if you were writing it, he wasn't in the right frame of mind to write that and to say that there are different expressions of it. That is a pure promotion of LGBTQ, and you are trying to instill it in students. But I would not want to admit that the government is doing any sort of quid pro quo with anybody anywhere to say that we are going to foster LGBTQ so that you can fund our government. I sincerely don't believe in that. Okay. It's a systemic issue. We need to look at it, and we need to hold people accountable so that going forward, this thing should not happen again. We should explicitly define what gender is, and nobody must come to change it. Not today, nor in the nearest future.
Very well, thank you, Richard. Fad, let me have your take on that.
I thought you take government stake. Then I have my...
No, I want to have your take.
Oh, this has nothing to do with government. This is
a national issue and not the government issue.
The government didn't write the handnote.
In the first place.
The government didn't write the handnote.
Oh, is that the case?
The government didn't write it.
Who wrote it?
The government controls what comes out of that.
Who wrote it? No, who wrote it? I wrote it from the...
It's the Ghana Education, but no.
From the MTB headquarters.
No. It doesn't matter.
Let's not do
I don't know why.
Let me have a bite.
Julius, go ahead.
You see, it's very interesting.
But don't buy too much.
That after elections, there is no campaign, right? That's the whole argument. After elections, there is no campaign. So today we can sit back here and have these discussions with that nationalistic cap on. Right,
just like Richard did. No, I don't know how.
I'm not going to play politics. Trust me, I'm not going to play politics. What I'm saying is that after elections, there's no campaign right after elections. But the truth of the fact is that let's also not discuss this in isolation from what happened in the previous administration when it comes to the LGBTQ plus issues. We cannot do that. We need to put them together and discuss them. Why am I saying this? Prior to election 2024. One of the biggest blows that the NPP suffered in the Muslim community specifically, I'm from the Muslim community, I'm using that as an example, specifically, was a deliberate campaign launched by the opposition then against the candidate of the NPP, who is a Muslim, right? If you go to the Muslim community, it's still there, and the propaganda is still down there, that the NPP supports LGBT activities, and as a result of that, they were being reluctant in passing the bill into law. That was the campaign they made against him. And they also went further to say that if he wins presidency, he's going to promote the activities of such immoral acts. And you see, we coming from the Muslim community, whenever you make these claims down there, my brother, it becomes very difficult to go back and clean it from their minds. It's still there. We hope and pray that today they will see through the light.
But that is the job of your candidates.
Then, please respect.
To let the people believe that, yes, this is what opposition is saying, but this is not what it is.
I'm saying
is that not supposed to be the job of your candidates
so today,
and the communication
team? We are here. When President Mahama took over, I think the first week he took over, right? If my brother can help me with the exact date, he met some religious leaders, right? And a question was put to him on this same issue. And if you pay attention to what he said, this is what he said. He said, if we are teaching our values in school, we would not need to pass a bill to enforce our family values. That is why I think more than ever, the family value bill is as agreed on.
Nyankopon ensure bibia ojebre hwedwumadi bedrum pempe so we yero bibia se hanom ye Ghana politics avenue so sane ye hwedwumadi na wani age eyo dey awo seriously e ma remfi so obehia ma honuanom so stress e ma remfi so be like enso no subscribe to the channel sane da ye tuma won so nsa ebetimi akabi ebusuafo hanom na embre e ma kwan se be mfa mo si Akroma na so won sam ka e bia fa comment section on ye de hu kita on dey bye.